Hi guys, I'm Madeline Harvey. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We're going to talk about how to evaluate your voice. What are some key things to look at when you're practicing or when you're organizing your practice? That way you can get the most benefit out of your practice time and get better sounding vocals. So if you liked today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. So the first thing you're going to want to do after choosing your song is you're going to want to separate aspects of the song. We're going to isolate all sort of aspects, but what I'm talking about here is you're going to separate technical work from performance work. So do not approach a new song from I'm going to perform this. Complete with style, complete with tone quality. Don't do it. That's a mistake that a lot of singers make, and that will sort of inform the voice to use style and tonal components, such as like placement or voicing or like mimicking another artist's voice to hide the technical imbalances or any gaps in the technique in the singer's voice. So you want to go, all right, I'm going to go straight into the hard stuff. I'm going to separate my technical work from my performance work. So let performance go sit over there for a minute. We're just looking at the technical components. And these things are going to feel like, oh, well, that makes sense, but you've got to isolate them. You've got to isolate them. First thing you want to isolate is pitch. You've got to know the song well. And by isolate, I don't mean sing along with a recorded vocal of the artist's voice over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Partly because listening and singing are two separate things, two separate sides of the brain, two separate functions. So your ear is listening to the original artist. Your voice is doing something. It's doing something, but do you know if you're on the right pitch or not? You may not know, because you actually need to feel what those pitches feel like. And sometimes melodies move so quickly that we sort of search for the pitch. So what you're listening for when you practice with pitch is I want you to sing, let's say like the opening line of your song. Sing it completely a cappella on like a ha. So you're not even going to have the words there, but sing it on a ha. And if your voice slides around, like it doesn't know where it's going, then that's a telltale sign that your voice doesn't actually know what pitch that is. But that's good news. You want to isolate those things so that they're revealed to you so you can work on them. But you'll go line by line. The great thing about songs, is they fall into patterns. So they will repeat the same pitch pattern often. So even though you're isolating one line, whenever that pattern appears in the song, you're reinforcing that pattern. So this will save your voice a lot of energy, When the voice slides around because it doesn't know what the pitches actually are, it's bleeding out all the energy, and the resulting sound is that it's taking a lot of energy to produce. When the voice understands the pitch, it's actually conserving energy. So it sounds clearer, it sounds sharper, it sounds more confident. Number 2 is rhythm. Again, kind of like, oh, okay, well, yeah. But no, you've actually really got to isolate the rhythm. Really isolate it. Don't sing what you think the rhythm is. Again, we go back to don't sing along to the original artist's voice over and over and over and over and over again. Isolate it. Listen, pause, replicate, like sing it. Can you sing the exact rhythm? 9 times out of 10, you'll notice that that rhythm actually needs to be tweaked a little bit. It needs to be a little bit more clarified. And when you have a nice rhythm, again, you're not bleeding out all this energy. Your voice is balanced, it's crisp, it's clear, and it's confident. Like the voice really gets very confident when it comes to rhythm because it knows energetically what to do. So keep that in mind. Got pitch, rhythm. The third aspect is tone quality. For tone quality, because this is kind of a doozy, Do not chase the original artist's tone quality. It's all great to have standards and use their voice as a benchmark, but your voice could be very different from their voice. Your tone quality, what's balanced, what's legitimately balanced in your voice could be very different than what their voice is offering as a tone. So you've got to give yourself that grace and that space to separate your voice from their voice and just sort of explore, where is this song going in my voice? How does the melody behave? Sometimes melodies are very legato, they're long and they're smooth. So we need to be able to move easily across our range. Sometimes the melodies are more, it's called allegretto, so that means like lively and bouncy. And so they have a lot of energy to them. So again, the melody is going to behave a certain way. So keep that in mind. You want, first and foremost, you want to be able to comply with that. You want to lean into the energy of the piece. If you are thinking too much about registration, again, it's slowing you down. It's taking that energy. So you may have to first try it in, let's say, a head voice, because maybe the melody moves that way. Maybe it's sweeping and broad. So you've got to try it in a head voice to get that equilibrium, and then you can start adding elements of mixture or even some chest voice in once you've established balance. But you have to establish balance first, okay? So those are our three components of technique that I really want you to embody and isolate in your practice: pitch, rhythm, and tone. Now let's go to three aspects of performance. So now that we've done that, we are assuming that those aspects are in balance, meaning it does not require your conscious attention any longer to manage all three of those dimensions: pitch, rhythm, tone. You've isolated them, you've practiced them, and it is muscle memory, basically, at this point. Now, you're going to turn to your performance. The cool thing about performance is it gets the focus off of you. I love it. I love it for that reason. Gets the focus off of you. Which is wonderful, because now we're in the game of connecting, aren't we? We're in the game of connecting. So this is where the nature of our questions starts to change. So it should go from, how is my pitch, my rhythm, my tone? In the performance, it goes to, okay, what's going on in the story? What's the point of that lyric? How can I engage the thought of that lyric, right? So it's no longer about, how do I sound? How do I look? It's no longer about that. It's, how do I communicate this? Assuming that the song is now in balance, perfect balance in your voice. Now we can add. So now you can start to go, I want to add some dynamic variation. So I want to go loud or soft, right? But it's not based off of what you want to hear. It's not based off of that. It's based off of, what's that moment? What's going on in the song? Where's the song going? What's being said right there that would make me want to go soft? Is it a secret? Is it a realization that I've just had to myself? Right? So it's really, really important that you know that and be very specific about that. Because the first one is articulation. This is where we go straight into the core of the word itself. Now, why is articulation a performance aspect and not a technical aspect? Because articulation is going to inform a lot of your artistic style. The way that you use the language is going to inform your tone, yes, but it really comes down to the mood, comes down to the mood of the song. So how are you feeling that word? How are you feeling that line? What is the music inspiring in that line? Can you use the word to make that come alive? The important thing with articulation is that I want you to think about the word compelling. We want it to be compelling. We don't want it to just be there, because not really just about the pitch, and it's not really just about the rhythm. It's about the thought that's happening right there, right there. So how are you using the words to make that thought come alive? Okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. Use your articulation. Get very clear and be playful about how you're moving your articulators to engage a really interesting way to say a specific line. Okay? Number 2, and it's still lyric focused, is lyric interpretation, also known as emoting. Now, you can't emote mentally. Do you know? So it's like, just to say, how do I emote? See how that's coming from like a mental place? One thing you want to pay attention to is where the lyric and the music come together. So if the music is giving you like bum, 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 dun, 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 you're not going la, 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 la. Do you know? It's you've got to engage musically, lyrically. What's happening? What's the reality of that moment? And you've got to really engage it. Don't be afraid of it. Lean into it. Let the music take you. But you've got to let the music take you. So, but also if the music is going, you're not going to over sing. It doesn't match. So you're allowing the music to be the vehicle, the music and the lyric to be the vehicle to guide you. So I will say oftentimes to my students, like, you've got to let the lyric be the hardest working part of the song. You've got to let the lyric be the hardest working part of the song. That's the reality. The lyric is the truth. That's what's going on in that moment. Okay? So get your information from that moment. Another really easy way to work that is look at your line and see if you can point what's the operative word of that line. Like, what's the operative word of that line? So if we're looking at a song, what is that? There's a little thing in Hamilton's Burn where it's like, I knew you were mine, you said you were mine, I thought you were mine. Right? So 3 lines to take you through that experience very, very quickly. You said you were mine, or how does it go? I thought you were, no, I knew you were mine. You said you were mine. I thought you were mine. You see how a person's confidence is quickly degrading over the course of those 3 lines. It would be a mistake to gloss over that and just go, bum, 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 I said you were mine. It's like, nope, engage the thought. What's happening right there in that moment? That's part of lyric interpretive work, which will put you right on par with being emotive, because you will mean what you say and you will say what you mean. Good. Now, real quickly, the third component at the end of the day is your authenticity, also known as energy and presence. Does it seem, now that you've done all this work, you've looked at pitch, rhythm, tone quality, articulation, rhythmic interpretation, now, does that song live in your voice? Does it live in your body? Or does it seem when you sing it that you're thinking about yourself, that you're thinking about what you're doing, that you're struggling with it? Or does it seem like it's just coming from the middle of your soul? It's hard work. It's hard work to get to that point. Can you own it? Does it seem real or authentic? Or does it still seem like you're trying to work out some things with maybe your key, or what the tone quality is doing, what the registration is doing? Do you seem distracted by yourself? That's what I think makes a lot of singers cringe at their own voices, because they understand when they watch it back that there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done. And that's okay. That's okay. That's why we're here. That's the nature of the work. But once you have done all those things and you've isolated each one individually, so those components are clear, they're being expressed very clearly, and it's not taking a lot of energy to express them. It seems balanced. Then the result sound is you get to just enjoy the ride. And in that enjoying of the ride, we, as your audience, get to go along on the ride with you. And that's all we want. That's all we want, is to go on a really cool adventure with you. yes, we want to be impressed for whatever that means, but more specifically, we'd rather go on a really cool adventure with you. And we want that to be as real and meaningful and compelling as it possibly can be. So there you have it, guys. Use this as a little foundation for your work. We did go over a lot more components and guideposts in our live today. If you want to check that out, click on that join button below and become a member of this channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our lives that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If that's too late for you or too early, no biggie, no biggie. You'll also have exclusive access to our members only area with like 100+ hours of voice lesson instruction there. So you can find anything that fits your mood or your hunger for what you want to learn. Again, click that join button. It's only $4.99 a month, and your contribution helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome content that's just for you. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you again next time. Bye!